Welcome, traveller. You've just stepped into a retelling of the great voyages of the age of exploration. What you are about to hear comes from records, journals, and fragments of the past woven together so that you and I may walk side by side with those who once crossed unknown seas. This is not a story of kings or admirals alone. It is the story of sailors, mates and wanderers, of daily life aboard fragile ships, and of the courage it took to sail toward horizons no one had seen. Together we will drift into that past, into the lives of men who scrubbed the decks, sang beneath the stars, and faced both storms and wonders with bare hands and steady hearts. If you enjoy this voyage, I invite you to join our growing crew here. Subscribe so you don't miss the next passage. Share this with a friend who dreams of history and leave me a comment below. Let me know from where in the world you're tuning in. It means more than you know to hear your voices as we keep these old stories alive. Now settle in. The lantern is lit, the sea awaits, and our journey begins.
September, the year 1519. The city of Seville stirs long before dawn. Lanterns glow along the wharf, trembling in the cool river edge. The sound of bells rolls over tiled roofs, summoning not only the faithful, but also the curious. For today, 5 ships slip their moorings, bound for a place no man in Spain has ever seen. They call this the Armada de Molucca. 5 wooden bodies no larger than a cathedral nave, yet entrusted with a mission that might split the world itself. At their heart sails Trinidad, the flagship, bearing Captain General Ferdinand Magellan. Close behind, San Antonio, the stoutest in hull. Concepcion, small and steady. Victoria, trim and narrow. And Santiago, lightest of all. Together, they number perhaps 700 tons, less than the weight of a single stone fortress. Yet they carry upon their decks the hopes of their kings. The men, 270 in all, shuffle aboard with faces pale in lantern light. Sailors hardened by the Mediterranean, Basque gunners, Portuguese pilots, merchants, servants, even a barber surgeon with his chest of knives. Most do not speak the same tongue, and those that do not share the same loyalties. They are Spaniards, Italians, Greeks, Portuguese, Flemings, men of the Levant. What binds them is not love of country but hunger. Hunger for bread, for coin, for fortune at voyage's end. I watch them from the quarterdeck, my hands ink-stained from these logs. I am not captain, nor pilot, nor priest. I am the shadow that records, the eye that must never close. Around us, Seville awoke. Women call out from the quay, their voices strained with both pride and sorrow. Children wave kerchiefs, running along the riverbank until their legs fail them. Merchants shout blessings, priests mutter prayers of protection, though I notice they do not step too close to the water. The Guadalquivir River carries us like a mother with a restless child. guiding us down its winding throat toward the wide Atlantic. Its banks narrow, reeds brushing against the hull. The city recedes into memory. The cathedral spire, a pale tooth against the morning sky. And already I sense it, that the men feel smaller, diminished, as if with every stroke of the oars the world they know grows faint. I make note of our cargo, barrels of salted pork, sacks of biscuit, casks of oil, vinegar and wine, dried beans, almonds, cheese sealed in wax, anchors, spare masts, iron nails, rope by the mile, powder and shot for the culverins, crossbows stacked like sheaves of wheat. And locked in a chest, letters sealed with the signet of King Charles, commanding Magellan to reach the Isles of Spice by sailing west. Some say the voyage is folly, that the sea stretches too far, that no man can bind both oceans in a single circle. Yet the Captain General walks the deck as one already triumphant. He speaks little, his Portuguese tongue rough among Castilians, but his eyes are unyielding, fixed always upon the horizon, as though he sees a world the rest of us cannot. The sails rise, great wings of canvas catching the breath of dawn. Oars dip and pull, the river quickens. From the prow of the Trinidad, the Virgin's banner unfurls, her painted face turned toward the sea. Some men cross themselves, others bow their heads, lips moving without sound. For myself I feel no triumph, no glory, for behind us lie stone walls, hearths, and voices that will fade as quickly as the lantern smoke. Ahead only water, and more water, until it swallows both name and memory. By the time the sun sets, Seville is a ghost upon the horizon. The men grow quiet. Even the boldest, who sang upon the wharf, now sit with bowed heads, clutching wooden charms, bits of bone, or scraps of parchment inked with prayers. They do not speak of fear, but it hangs in the air, thick as pitch. I hear it in the way they breathe, in the way they glance at the horizon, as though it were a curtain that may never lift. The ocean is no gentle meadow. It is a gate, and every man aboard wonders if he will return through it alive. Thus begins our voyage. The first days upon the river and out into the Gulf are not marked by discovery nor by glory, but by adjustment. Aboard ship, every man is bound by rhythm. Not the rhythm of bells in a cathedral, but of bells struck by the boatswain. 4 hours to a watch, day and night alike. The morning watch, the forenoon, the afternoon, the dog watches, the first, the middle and the last. Time no longer belongs to the sun or to the stars, but to the iron clapper against brass,
commanding all to rise, all to labour, all to rest. The ship herself groans like a living beast. She breathes through the seams of her planks, exhales tar and salt, sighs with every wave. When her sails belly with wind, she moans. When her hull slaps the water, she growls. At night, when all falls silent, the men swear they can hear her heartbeat in the deep timbers. I listen, and I confess, I hear it too. The decks are never still. The topmen climb the rigging like spiders, barefoot, their bodies black against the sky. Below, swabbers scrub the planks with holy stones until their hands bleed, for the Captain General demands no rot, no filth. Barrels are shifted, ropes coiled, sails patched, and always the carpenter mends, for wood at sea splits as easily as bread. Our food is plain, salt pork so stiff it must be soaked before a knife will enter it. Biscuits crawling with weevils, we knock them free upon the table and eat what remains. Dried beans, lentils, a wedge of cheese if fortune smiles, wine and vinegar ladled from the same cask, and water drawn from barrels that already begin to sour. A man who dreams of feasts upon land soon learns that hunger is the only loyal companion. Yet still, the men speak of spices, of cinnamon and nutmeg, of cloves from the Moluccas, of pepper worth more than silver. They speak of palaces built on the profit of a single chest, of daughters wed into nobility, of names sung for generations. Their mouths water not for bread, but for the taste of fortune. At night, the sea reveals its face. The lanterns are doused, save one at the stern, and darkness pours across the deck. Above us, the sky has no ceiling, but a boundless ocean of stars. Men lie upon their backs, pointing at constellations. Some trace the familiar, the cross, Orion's belt. Others speak of lights unknown, of wandering fires that drift across the heavens like ships without anchor. In such moments, silence falls again. Even the loudest among us feel the pull of something older, vaster. The ocean below, the sky above, both endless, both unmapped. And we, a few planks of oak caught between. I walk the deck in those hours. I hear the murmur of prayers in half a dozen tongues. Some pray to Christ, some whisper to saints. Others, I suspect, whisper to gods they do not name aloud. A talisman pressed to the palm, a coin tied about the neck, a tattoo inked with symbols of the sea. The Captain General himself is rarely seen below. He walks the quarterdeck with measured pace, his cloak wrapped close, his gaze fixed forward. Some say he is made of stone, that no fear pierces him. Others mutter in secret that he is a tyrant, that his Portuguese tongue
hide secrets from Spanish ears. Already, factions murmur in the dark, whispering names of captains who might command better. It is only the beginning, yet already the seeds of discord are sown. And so the days pass, rope and sail, watch and rest, hunger and silence. Yet beneath the labour, beneath the bickering, a truth gnaws at every heart. The land has fallen behind, and with each stroke of current, the world grows larger. We sail not upon water, but upon the edge of maps. The river mouth behind us fades. The towers of Seville are gone. The coast of Spain, a pale line swallowed by horizon. Ahead stretches the open ocean. No villages, no bells, no cathedral spires. Only the roll of the waves, unbroken in every direction. It is here that men begin to understand what they have sworn to. Land is not a day away, nor even a week. A man may die, and his grave be nothing more than a canvas shroud, stitched tight, cast to the water. The ocean does not mark the spot. It swallows and it forgets. The watches grow heavier as the shoreline vanishes. The men climb the rigging, their hands raw from rope, their bodies stiff from damp wind. Tar seeps into every pore. The smell of the sea, sharp, metallic, alive, coats the throat and never leaves. A man may wash his hands in vinegar, he may rub with sand, but the salt returns. Always the salt returns. Still, spirits rise at first. Songs are sung at the oars when calm stills the sails. Fiddles scrape a tune. A drum beat echoes against the planks. For a time, it feels like festival. Yet always, after the song fades, the silence grows longer. The laughter shortens. The men sit and stare at the black rim of the sea, where the world seems to end. I write now by lantern. The deck above creaks, and somewhere a man coughs. Another mutters in his sleep. The ocean strikes the hull in slow rhythm, and I cannot help but feel as though it speaks. Not in words, not in any tongue of men, but in a language older than us all. The ocean is not still. It rises and falls like a chest breathing. It groans, it whispers, it hums. Some nights the water glows, tiny sparks like stars caught beneath the waves. Men lean over the rails and swear that souls swim there, souls of the drowned, following our ships with cold fire in their eyes. I note it in this log, not as belief, but as record. The men fear the sea is alive. In such moments, I think on the maps we carry. Beautiful maps, painted in gold leaf and ink. Yet beyond their edges lies nothing. Not nothing in truth, but nothing that men have charted. We sail now upon that nothing, and every day it grows larger. The maps end, but the sea does not. It is said that beyond the edge, beasts wait, serpents with scales like armour, that rise from depths to coil around a ship and drag it under. Fish larger than whales whose breath blows storms across the ocean. Even islands that are not land at all but sleeping leviathans, their backs crusted with sand and trees, waiting only to wake and sink whatever dares step upon them. Some dismiss these tales, but others whisper them in the dark, when the lanterns burn low. For in the black hours before dawn, the mind plays tricks. A splash at the stern becomes a monster's fin. A shadow beneath the keel becomes an unseen eye. The Captain General forbids such talk, yet even he cannot command dreams. Men wake sweating, muttering names they do not remember. One swore he saw a woman in the water, her hair long as kelp, her eyes pale as the moon. She beckoned him over the side. He prayed until dawn and would not work his watch. Another tells of a hand, pale and webbed, slapping against the hull in the night. We laugh at him by day, but by night the laughter fades. We each strain our ears, wondering if we too might hear it. I begin to understand why the ancients named the ocean a god. Poseidon, Neptune, Olokun, Tangaroa. The names differ, but the truth is one. This sea has moods. One day she smiles with calm water and wind to fill the sails. The next she rages, heaving us like driftwood, snapping ropes like threads, hurling men into her mouth. To live upon her is to live at her mercy. And mercy, I think, is a word the ocean does not know. I mark the passing days, yet time itself feels strange upon the sea. Sunrise and sunset, they blur together, one wave folding into another. The men no longer speak of home, not often. Their eyes drift further eastward, toward horizons we have not yet earned. But when the air grows heavy, when storms gather at the rim of the world, their whispers turn again to tales. Tales that have sailed with us from Portugal, from Lisbon's quays, from the mouths of old pilots who swore they had once seen more than any man should. One such tale returns to me now, the tale of Adamastor. They say he was once a Titan, condemned by the gods to dwell at the edge of the world. He crouches at the southern cape, where the Atlantic and Indian seas collide. A giant of cloud and rock, with beard of storm, eyes like lightning, voice like thunder. His breath spills tempests, his hands hurl mountains of water against the frail bones of ships. No man can pass him unchallenged, and if a sailor dares to trespass, Adamastor rises from the foam, black as night, towering above the masts. He curses the crew, swearing that they will find only hunger, mutiny, and death. This tale was told first by the poet Camões, but it lives stronger in the mouths of sailors than in books. For though we may not yet reach that cape, its shadow seems already to stalk us. In the waves that rear too high, in the storms that tear canvas to ribbons, in the sudden silence when the wind dies, leaving us drifting upon a glass sea, watched by something unseen. I too have felt it. When lightning flashes at the horizon, shaping clouds into monstrous form. When thunder rolls, not from above, but from beneath the waves, as if some vast chest breathed below. I look then to the men, and see the fear in their eyes. They do not name it aloud, yet the name is written there, Adamastor. In this log I write fact at fault, the weight of provisions, the count of men, the leagues we sail. But here I allow one truth not written on charts. The sea remembers. It remembers every ship that dared to cut across it, every mast broken, every hull splintered, every sailor dragged into its lungs. And in that memory it grows shapes, faces, giants, phantoms, to remind us we are guests, not masters. Some nights I dream of him myself, the Titan rising from spray, his arms stretching wider than the horizon, his mouth opening to swallow the sky. I wake with salt on my lips, though I have not left my berth. The men pray to God, to Christ, to saints whose names blur together. Yet in secret, some leave offerings at the stern, bits of bread, wine spilled into the sea, a coin flicked from a calloused thumb. They do not say why, but I know. I close this entry now, the lantern dim. Above deck the night is heavy, the stars hidden by cloud. The sea moves, restless, in the dark. I cannot see its face, but I feel it there, waiting, as it has waited since the first man dared to sail beyond sight of shore. Tomorrow we sail further, and further still, into seas where maps are blank and legends begin. The candle burns lower. My hand is steady, though my eyes grow heavy. Still I write, for the men I serve and the voyage we endure. Tonight I listen not to the sea itself, but to the voices of my shipmates. 100 small sounds carry through the deck planks. Snores, muttered dreams, a cough, the rustle of a blanket. These are the noises of men who have given themselves to this journey. Their lives are plain, yet in such simplicity is our survival. At dawn they rise to scrub the decks with salt water, their hands raw and blistered. They mend ropes, scrape barnacles from the hull, polish rust from iron tools. They eat when the sun allows, hard biscuit, salt pork, a measure of wine or sour water, and still they laugh lively. They tell jokes about women left behind, about the stink of their own feet, about which sailor snores loudest. In the evening they sing, low and rough at first, but sometimes the sound grows bold, enough to reach the sails themselves. There is prayer too. When the day is done, some kneel by the mast, whispering words to saints and the Virgin. Others keep charms, a bit of bone, a coin, a ribbon from home. Each man carries his faith in his own way. and none dares mock another's. For on this sea, even the proud bow their heads at night. It strikes me as I write that we are no different from the caravans that cross deserts, or the wanderers of old who marched beneath strange stars. We are bound by common labour, common hunger, and the promise of what lies ahead. Ahead, the maps show only guesswork. A coast half seen by others, an ocean rumoured to stretch without end. But we are drawn forward all the same. The unknown is not a wall to us, it is a door. Tonight I close my log. The ocean before us is vast, but so is the measure of our resolve. We go onward, toward Brazil, toward adventure of the unknown. If you've enjoyed stepping back into this world, I'd be honoured if you joined us for the next passage. Subscribe so you won't miss the journey as we sail westwards toward Brazil and beyond.